Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back with another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Friday, March 2nd. We've got things to do, but not too bad. I just need to continue playing Paladin cards and winning Paladin victories, and since we're basically started at the beginning again on standard ranked, so now it is a little different. You may not have noticed this, but it takes 5 stars even at the lowest rank. So there actually is now a lot more ranks effectively at rank 23. A lot worse players are going to stay below rank 20, where before you could get to rank 20 and pretty easily always reach rank 20 again. The card bank and the monthly chest only require you to get 5 rank victories, which is to say that some people, probably a decent percentage of people, will allow themselves to fall all the way back down to rank 23, rank 25. Is there a 25 or does it start at 23? I wonder. They're only gonna get 5 victories, which will only move them up 1 rank, and if they stop playing ranked play at that point, at the end of the month, they'll fall right back down and never make any progress to the higher ranks, which is kind of good because it now means that if I pay attention and actually try to win, and can actually win, and actually do have the skill, it's possible I'll run into less random people. Players that should be at like rank 1, but they've been knocked down to rank 20 because of some random reason. Or people that should be at rank 23, but they've managed to make it up to rank 20 because of some random reason. That's my hope, at least. A better experience, an experience where I am more consistently, more than 50% of the time winning, would be nice. We've got a decent amount of news. PC Gamer has a review for the game The Station. They give it a 77, which is, I mean, what do you take from that? Like, 7 is the average score people have. So if you're average plus a small percentage of average, I guess that's all you can say. They say even stranger than its premise and scarier than it looks, The Station is a short ride to a great ending. So I guess it's almost up to an 8, which is because you have 3 points of difference there. I don't know. The way they rank their own games doesn't even make sense when you try to look at the review explanation. Just zoom in on this page and move forward. I guess at best all I can say is with no other commentary they gave it a 77. Let's see, somebody recommended a game. Is this game on Steam? Let's see. Yes, it is. Somebody recommended this game, Neofeud, Neofeud, one word. Neofeud is a dystopic cyberpunk adventure game in the vein of Blade Runner, but with an overlay of the Game of Thrones like political intrigue and 1366x768 hand-painted stylized visuals. Why they give a specific resolution that is so odd. Like, why not instead change it to HD visuals. Although I don't think that actually is HD visuals. And looking at the video here, it is some rough animation, but it is mostly positive. 77% of the 18 reviewers say it's positive. So there's something about this game, even though it doesn't look amazingly great. It doesn't look awful though. I don't know. Let's look at the reviews. It's hard to pick this. 15 hours of point-and-click adventure game. That might be the reason. So story great, graphics sound great. There are a few small bugs, overlooks, ignored things in code. I don't like to look at positive reviews, so let's just look at the 6 negative reviews. Because that's, to me, the only ones that matter. Is what are the complaints, and because I'm a critic and I'm critical of things, I want to know what are the complaints of a game and can I overlook them and still enjoy it. On top of that, the first negative review, I desperately want to like this game because of its aesthetic and environs and genre attract me greatly, but alas, the art is too poor, the writing predictable, and the interactivity clunky. Perhaps over time this particular developer, as they gain experience, will polish this into something I enjoy. Too boring to invest too much time into it. The game style and gameplay is dated. Cyberpunk's story felt like segments from popular books and movies, nothing original. Most of my 9 hours was due to going out and leaving my PC on. If I ever had the urge to invest any more time into this, my views may change, but until then, I'm not recommending it. Let's see. The writing is terrible. It feels like the author had got the general direction of social commentary in the cyberpunk genre and tried to replicate it without really thinking about it, so it's all terribly heavily handed. As far as playability, it was a general lacking of show don't tell, so much poorly written expositive dialogue. The game is really bad. It's got a ham-fisted message that sounds like the creator binged on a bunch of cyberpunk trash and threw it all in the blender. The trailer set my expectations to be really low and I was still disappointed. Okay, I've seen enough in these negative reviews, and knowing that there are only a small number of reviews on this game, I cannot take the recommendation when there's only 18 reviews here, and what I was thinking was going to be the problem is confirmed to me as the problem. That's good enough. This is made by Silver Spoon Studios and it's their only game on Steam. I imagine people might have been happy with it free on itch.io, but Steam has some higher requirements, and because of that, I just closed the page. Moving on. Your gamer has 4X Done Quick, Space Tyrant, and the Battle of Polytopia. I don't know what 4X means. Is 4X games like top-down simulation games where you have to speed things up? Yeah, it does seem like it's top-down real-time strategy games. I've never heard of this phrase 4X as a type of game. I may not win here, but I think I will have played all the cards. The Forks game is the Sunday papers genre. You spread out, prepare yourself for a long, luxurious haul, and tackle the glorious, unwieldy thing. Thick with features wanted and unwanted, and packed with color and far-flung intrigue. Your favorite part in it will be some aspect that you were not expecting, and yet the whole thing is wonderfully awash with calming familiarity. I'm surprised the new Civ does not drop a leaflet from life insurance when you pick it up and shake it. To put it another way, the pleasure of these games is that they take time. Well, I don't think I want that. Did I play enough cards? We'll play this Paladin deck, just for fun. Well, I certainly don't have time or interest in playing games that are designed to take up even more of my time. If anything, with every day, it's getting harder and harder. I know this has been a consistent whine and complaint I've had. It's just like I spent a good portion of a day a couple days ago just feeling tired and going back to sleep. Like probably insomnia, big part there. Certainly just so much sleep debt, as they call it, that I just took a nap and slept a day away. But that, whatever you call it or whatever the reason, less and less content still getting made. Playing Star Wars, the Clone Wars, Republic Heroes. It's a fine game, but it's a very easy game to leave also. So I'll play it for 30 minutes and just be like, alright, well, my schedule is so out there, I'll play for 30 minutes and then go to sleep, and then I'll meander around when I wake up for several hours, and then by the time I get back to wanting to play it, I'm tired again and falling asleep. It's ridiculous. I'm honestly surprised it hasn't more affected even the live stream videos. Speaking of live stream videos, a lot of people on the stream Wednesday. I wonder how much of that had to do with the clickbait title having Trump in the name. Like, at the end. I'm wondering if it really gets down to the point where I need to have Trump in the name of every single Hearthstone video. Not only because of Donald J. Trump, the president, but also there is a famous Hearthstone player named Trump. So that double boost might be it. The point of doing the clickbait titles was to get more random people to view. I got more random people to view. I should probably stick with that. I guess I'll think about that and consider it, or consider just consider continuing the experiment. I guess I do a lot of that. I push experiments even though I've got that early answer, just to make sure. I want to be confident. Moving on, Gamatsu has an article that Doku Soshite remaster has gone gold. That's DOUKOKU space SOSHITE. I have no idea what this game is, but it's due out April 26th in Japan. Let's see. It's the remaster version of a Sega Saturn era visual novel that's gone gold. Let's look at the latest trailer and see what it is. So the animation style on the thumbnail for the cutscene immediately struck me as a older anime style. It's not the current anime style at all. I miss the older anime style, honestly. I wish it happened more 50-50 with the modern, everybody is moe, and it's not even the original generation of moe. It's kind of this moe 2.0 that they're doing now. Like, all the characters in this trailer are tall characters. They look like mostly adults or high school students. In fact, there's one character that's really really old looking, which you almost never see in modern animes. And then they just showed me a picture of an anime girl in the shower, singing her behind. Yeah, I'm seeing another maid undressed on her bed, so yep, this is not YouTube advertiser friendly. It seems like what you do in the actual game is you walk around the 3D environment, find objects, use the objects to unlock keys and elements, keys, doors, and things. If I was to generally guess what the story is, there's a creepy old man who's locked a bunch of people into a building, and he's spying on them and watching them be trapped. It'll be interesting to see if this one comes out, but it's a PS4, PS Vita remaster. So unless this remaster comes out to PC, I guess I wouldn't even have any real opportunity to do anything with it. If at some point I could host my own content, like, and put certain videos in kind of a, I don't know, unpublished, won't get flagged the element on YouTube, I would be very interested in playing some game like this that is an older generation of the sex visual novel, although I wouldn't call this one really a romance visual novel. It doesn't look like you're actually doing much talking or romancing. Something that is a Sega Saturn era style of game compared to a modern style of game, and see the slight differences there. Speaking of hosting my own content, I went through the effort of seeing what it would take to post my RSS feed to the podcast channels on iTunes and the Google Play App Store. And for some very stupid reason, the RSS feed that comes by default for YouTube channels that they don't promote or use at all, you have to really jump through hoops to even figure out how to get it. On mine, you can go to the About tab, or it's in the description, and you can get the RSS feed. And that works fine if you want to manually add that RSS feed to any RSS podcast app. But it doesn't, but that feed isn't getting suggested, it's not getting shown or listed on iTunes, and iTunes is half of all the places where you would get an RSS feed or find it. There's just tags and datas and thumbnails that are just not in that feed. So the only way that I can see that I would fix that is I would have to have some kind of permanent website, host it, which that's not a terrible thought. It would just be expensive to buy a year's hosting for some simplistic website that is only really there to be able to run some kind of Python script to pull my default RSS feed, add in the tags and the thumbnail so then I can hand that RSS feed over to iTunes. And who knows how often or how hard iTunes would pull from that RSS feed, to the point where maybe that would not work with a very cheap website. The idea of having your own website and having your own content makes a lot of sense. I could do all the sex games and things that are not advertiser friendly easily. Going back to the Murlocs now, on that site, if I could host the videos there. However, you can't really host the videos on cheap websites. Like an unlimited amount of storage just doesn't come with websites. Most websites are incredibly limited, to the point where I could embed links. I could certainly have like a WordPress plugin that took the videos from my YouTube channel and say, hey, check these out, and that might even cause my YouTube channel to get referenced a little bit more, but I can't put videos directly on it. That's the problem with a lot of the competitors that are trying to replace YouTube, and it would be very nice if one of them succeeded, but until you can find a way, particularly for me, to have 5,000 videos on your channel and not have to pay anything because I'm not making anything on those videos, I don't know how I can even have backups, let alone move away from YouTube. And with my small number of subscribers, I don't know if any people would actually actively go to a third-party website to see my content. Almost certainly not. So the best thing I could imagine to do, I contacted, sent feedback to YouTube like anybody can, and told them, why don't you fix these RSS feeds so they work with your own Google Play Store? And that might encourage some low-level content creator, not content creator, but low-level programmer in YouTube to say, hey, yeah, we could just allow you to edit this information, or we could take the information that is already there and put it in the RSS feed. It wouldn't really change too much, would it? Because it literally, with the exception of a 3000 by 3000 pixel that thumbnail that iTunes wants, everything else is just text. So it's literally I could do it probably in 5 minutes if I had access to YouTube's code. But it probably will gets into politics, and do they really want to do that or not? We shall see. And then there's also the issue with features on YouTube that I still don't have. Jim Sterling made a great one where he was talking about how the fair use protection program that he's in, he thought that was going to get rolled out to more people or all of YouTube, and it's like, no, it's just him, and that's kind of it, which is rather weird that they never expanded that. They just introduced it and then moved on. And the season 3 episode 1 feature that you can see on some channels where they make series and seasons, and it's a special indicator, so you don't so for instance, in my case, I don't have to put like a number at the end of every video, because it to make it seem like it's the same thing. That feature, which is a feature I suggested to YouTube, there's several I've suggested to YouTube that maybe 20 to 100 other people suggested to YouTube, but yeah, that feature never came to me. Seems like they do a lot of testing, and if for any reason they decide that something's not the direction they want to go, they never go. Speaking of YouTube's under more accusations of both. YouTube's in a very bad position, and I guess they've just run their company poorly. I don't know how much of this is Susan Wojcicki's fault, or if it was existing problems. I don't always want to just blame Susan, the CEO of YouTube's, directly, but it could be that there was existing issues. But YouTube and Google are being investigated for having too many white males and Asians in their company, and not hiring, not having enough other minorities in there. Why there's a specific statement here that Asians are high and that's a bad thing, I don't know. Have Asians now become the honorary majority in tech firms? Didn't make a lot of sense. And while they're saying they have too many of those, on the other hand, YouTube is also now in trouble for allegedly telling a recruiter to violate laws and specifically hire people who are less qualified just because they're minorities in a non-legal affirmative action attempt. And so they're getting hit both ways, and a significant portion of that is directly because somebody is always going to file a lawsuit with YouTube telling them they're not diverse enough, and someone's going to react to someone always filing that lawsuit by saying that they're discriminating against white males and Asians. And at a certain point, they just got to put their foot down and just say, we're going to follow the law, but as far as we're concerned, we're going to get the best people ever possible. It is also potentially arguable that maybe Google and YouTube have too many good people and need to hire some lower quality employees, because they do have a decent number of people with PhD and master's degrees in very low level jobs, which just creates more unhappiness with your position when you're smart, you're overqualified for this job, and you're doing tech support. Generally, this is solved by companies outsourcing their tech support to India or some other country, but it wouldn't be terrible if some of those underqualified, underskilled people who went to California to be actors got low-level jobs. I mean, YouTube in particular has got perfect jobs for them. Look at these videos. Tell us if they're inappropriate. Tell us if these things should be monetized. They've got work they could give people, certainly. Activision Blizzard has a article called "Inside Activision Interview with Beenox," Beenox, lead designer Francis Tadai, Francois space Taddei. It's an interesting thing for Activision Blizzard to put out an article interview of its own employee. Seems kind of silly. I really don't even know what else to say about this. I mean, this is really just going to be propaganda at its best. Nobody's going to put out a hard-hitting interview in their own website. That is what the video game creators would love to do, though, is they would absolutely love to take the last bit of journalistic integrity out of the video game reporting world and just have complete and direct control of all games, game reporting. course, they're not going to get it as long as there's independent reporters out there like me, but they certainly can control a lot. In kind of surprise announcement, this is on road2VR.com. It looks like that's what the website is. Never heard of it. The creators of Myst and Abduction. I recently played Abduction. I felt Abduction Myst, no pun intended. It just didn't have some of the elements and nowhere near the variety that Myst or the Myst series had. Nowhere near as many puzzles. But I thought it was kind of their first attempt and like a Kickstarter effort to try and see what they could do with what is effectively a second generation of programmers in their company. Honestly, I think they're the Millers that are the brothers that run Cyan, are a little old, and they just don't have the level of skill for modern programming, in my opinion. They've got the story and the ideas, but even some of those might be old-fashioned and need some polish. So they're trying to run their company and make it continue without them doing everything. So I'm watching a trailer for this new game they just announced called Firmament, which firmament means soil, the ground beneath you. I believe it's an old biblical term. Very, very old term. And it looks like it's showing several environments and a few kind of rusty metallic devices. One of the devices seems to fly away from one place to another place, and it seems like it might be something that can like compress a human being in a capsule and then move them to another area. Abduction was 100% that. There was this magical devices that would swap you from one area to another, one dimension to another. This seems like they are doing a similar idea, but this time not swapping between dimensions, just having a device that actually moves you left and right, up and down. The studio is keeping specifics under wrap, including target, headset, launch date, and what Cyan calls a resplendent magical journey among a monumental voyage through 4 diverse, curious realms, working in concert with an ever-present clockwork companion and instruction of a long-dead ethereal mentor. Yeah, there is this alien like creature too, like ghost like creature. Now my fear here with Firmament is it may prove to be too much just like Abduction, and it may be that every couple of years they just come out with a very specific simplistic concept of a game that's going to have 4 environments that aren't, if they're like Abduction, those environments weren't sprawlingly large except for the main environment. There was one very relatively large environment and then 3 that were much more linear. One assumes that it will eventually run without VR like Abduction, although the comment down on this says exclusive VR. So if this is an exclusive VR game, I'm out, clearly at that point. There's also, I guess, a level to what was I gonna say? Well, I'm surprised they announced the game this quickly. They very possibly might win the race to be the best creators of all games in VR, but that doesn't really, I think, save Cyan. It just kind of makes them the big fish in a small pond. I would much prefer that they attempted to be a AA content creator still. Like, I don't think they'll probably ever make it to AAA. At one point, Myst was a very AAA product, but I think they've let too much ground slip from underneath them to ever be that again. They are definitely going to run out of ideas if every couple of years they try to have 4 environments, because whatever number of environments you create, it's all just going to be compared to Myst. It's all going to feel extremely like Myst. Like, Myst has done probably all the environments you could ever think of. Abduction was lucky enough to do a desert environment that kind of was unique, that we hadn't seen too much of in the Myst series, but all the other environments are certainly something very familiar. I do like the Myst series. I do want to get back and play the Riven Masterpiece Remaster at some point, whenever I can find time. Riven, for me, in the Myst series is kind of the hardest game to play, because it's a complicated final puzzle. So I probably will cheat to get to the end of that. Myst 3 Exiles is not owned by Cyan, so it's not available on PC, which that's problematic. So then after Riven, you have to kind of jump to some variation or form of Uru, whichever form or variation of Uru is the right one to play is kind of confusing too. Let's see. Just take eye for an eye and see if maybe we can get him down to 5. PC Gamer says how the community helped Underdog Series Fire Pro Wrestling get a second wind. I'm not going to read this whole article or talk too much about it, but Fire Pro Wrestling got a second wind, and when you compare it to a consistent release of bad WWE games recently, and that's holding it to the already extremely low bar of WWE games and wrestling games, which you've never really had to make very good wrestling games in the first place. Fire Pro Wrestling certainly needed to come out there. I'm still firmly, in my experience of playing only a handful of wrestling games, I'm still firmly in the market that Rumble Roses XX is the best wrestling game, and it's only the best wrestling game because it was just a bunch of anime characters in out costumes. So that really didn't even have anything too much to do with wrestling. I'm not exactly certain how you make a good wrestling game. I don't know what you do or how you do it. But Fire Pro Wrestling probably is the closest that we've gotten so far. I don't know how you make wrestling enjoyable at all. Come to think of it. Like, even the TV wrestling seems, WWE, like SmackDown and such, all of it seems to be slightly random, slightly inconsistent. It seems like things just don't ever pull up enough steam. So we play this, and this, and then the turn. I'm not getting any victories, so I should I should shift over to casual gaming. Maybe I've found a new rank level I can only reach. It may very well be sad but true that I can only make it to rank 23 with 5 stars, and I can't get any higher on my Asian account just because I don't have any decks that are good. This might be the new normal for people right here, because I'm not getting those victories. I just am not. And you've got to get pretty high too, because you're still, I think, dropped down 2 points at the end of the month. So if I even want to start at rank 23, I've got to get to rank 21. I don't know. Guess casual. Though let's not just stick with the ranked elements, ranked gameplay for no reason. Right now, the deck I'm playing has 4 wins to 9 losses. It's 31% win ratio. That's incredibly low. Moving on, PC Gamer has an article. Funcom's Mutant Year Zero: Road to Eden is a blend of XCOM, Fallout, and Daffy Duck. There was a countdown that started last week and it hit 0. And this game, Mutant Year Zero: Road to Eden, trailer released. I mean, I don't get the mutant part. Was mutant a existing license? Is this an attempt? I don't think this is Daffy Duck. I think this is Howard the Duck and the pig creature from Beyond Good and Evil. There's also a robot here with a shotgun. Like, there is a pig creature in Beyond Good and Evil. And this duck does look like Howard the Duck more. And then there's just a human behind the other 2 creatures. Like, this could be a Gearbox move, though. Like, here, this duck is just found ham. And then he looks over at the pig character and puts it down. And the pig just found a mirror, is looking at himself in the mirror. So, is it that these people were human once and then they mutated into creatures that are half human, half creature? The human just turned her skin into gray, so she has like some kind of snake DNA in her. And there's these floating robot drones that are flying around trying to kill these characters. That's weird. That really is weird, but people were thinking that it might be a stalker MMO, uh, but it doesn't seem like that is the case. Like this Funcom company is including a designer who worked on games like Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, Payday, and Payday 2. And I guess in some weird way getting away from the controversy they made with Payday 2 might be interesting. But honestly, this may very well just be a Borderlands move. Remember, Borderlands was just a boring looking first person shooter RPG game until right before it was released. And they decided and made the pitch to change the animation style into the now iconic cell shading cartoony comic book-esque style. And by doing that, applying those filters, changing the textures, it really made what could have easily been an average game stand out and be played enough for people to realize it was better than an average game. This top-down, looking at a few screenshots here, it doesn't seem like a top-down XCOM-esque game where you're going to get a bunch of different characters. It feels more like an XCOM-esque game. I guess I need a better title than XCOM-esque style game with these specific characters. And by default, I'm more interested in knowing the story behind 3 characters that seem like they're mutant, half animal, half human, than I am just 3 random people. Compared to like XCOM or The War of Mine or some zombie strategy game. So this one's caught my attention. I guess when a game catches my attention, interestingly enough, Steam says this is close to Costume Quest 2. I don't know what tags they put in their game to tell me that this was like Costume Quest 2, but I'm gonna add this one to my wish list. My follow list just doesn't work that way anymore, so wish listing things that catch my eye are about the right thing to do. And when this game comes out, or if more news comes out, I'll either take it on or leave it on, take it off or leave it on the wish list. Steam doesn't seem like it has any extra screenshots versus the article. Tactical combat, explore post-human Earth, control a team of mutants, master the stealthy approach, unlock mutations, dynamic environments, loot everywhere. It does seem to be slightly inspired by Gearbox. It's published by Funcom. It's developed by the Bearded Ladies, which when I click that developer, there's no other things they've made. However, the publisher Funcom made Dreamfall, The Longest Journey, Anarchy Online, Conan Exiles. I guess Conan Exiles is not doing well for him. Age of Conan Unchained, which is a free-to-play. The Park, Mutant Year Zero, and then that's kind of it. There's a couple Longest Journey bundles and such. Dreamfall, I believe, is the remake of The Longest Journey. Slightly different. here. And anytime you see the Sorcerer's Apprentice these days, you've got to kill it immediately. It is the most devastating card a mage can play. Moving on, PC Gamer has the most controversial PC games. Let's look at this list. Leisure Suit Larry Reloaded. Review average 58.8. User average 8.3. Maybe that's why I can't find that one on sale anymore, is because it was not done very well. Because it's not on sale on Steam last time I looked. Rise and Fall Civilizations at War. Counter-Strike Condition Zero. Crater. Dreadfall Adventures. Singles Flirt Up Your Life. Tesla Effect, a Tex Murphy Adventure. I think I have that on my wish list, or I already own that game. Like, I'm not 100% certain why that one is so controversial. Let's see. Infernal, Tycoon City, New York, Auto Assault, Killing Floor. Killing Floor has a 71.8 review on it. What makes that so controversial? I think they really need to get down here and explain these controversies, because there's more that needs to be known. Bound by Flame, Mars Warlogs, Scrapland, and Serious Sam HD The First Encounter. It seems like let's see. Let's read this article, skim it. I should have attacked with this one first. Let's see. Counter-Strike Zero Condition. Counter-Strike Condition Zero is largely a remake of 1.6. It was not received by critics well and was delayed multiple times, finally releasing in 2004. It was overshadowed by Counter-Strike Source not long after that. Most of the user reviews came after that release, and are likely more positive thanks to post-launch updates. The least surprising of the bunch is probably Singles Float Up Your Life, a mediocre Sims knockoff with a name that practically shouts hard pass. Metacritic user Richard W. disagreed. I think it's a good game. This thing about not blowing the bad things up is great. I hope lots of people like it too. Let's keep playing. Well, I might win here. Let's see. If there's one way I'd say the user really got it right, it's Killing Floor. On its release, Killing Floor scored decently, but its 30 critic reviews and 1,405 user reviews showed that where AAA found its strength. In years of post-release support, making Killing Floor a bigger and better game and one of the best co-op shooters on PC. It wasn't pretty, but it could run on a wide range of PC hardware, opening up to a huge audience. So Killing Floor was controversial because it wasn't good at the beginning. Okay. Like I have like guest passes to Killing Floor right now that I could give to people. That Again, I played Killing Floor. It's too old now. Maybe Killing Floor 2 would make sense, but to play, but I couldn't see many people wanting to play it. Also, you really do need co-op people to play it. Next paragraph. As for Tex Murphy fans, sorry gang, it's Richard Colbert. If Richard Colbert says your adventure game isn't up to snuff, well, we're gonna roll with him. Let's see. Weirdly enough, Leisure Sheet Larry shows up again in the most controversial PC games on Metacritic. So I guess this is more of a review of games that get reviewed more than anything else. Like, where's Hatred? Where's Grand Theft Auto San Andreas that nearly got us legal censorship? And the Hot Coffee mod. Like, those clearly would be more bigger stories than half of these games. So how they're labeling things as controversial seems a little inaccurate to me. Where's Duke Nukem Forever? That's a hugely controversial game. Or the remaster of Bulletstorm for full price. That's slightly controversial. But I guess what they're doing is a standard deviation of games. Whereas some people love the game and some people hate the game, so they're using a very different definition of the phrase controversial, which is interesting. Okay, I guess I can take that for what it means. At the very least, it allows me and PC Gamer to talk about different games instead of talking about the same ones over and over again. It would have been nice by now if I was halfway through the European account, by the way. So Metacritic says the most controversial, meaning highest standard deviation, is X3 Reunion with a review average of 73.4, standard deviation 18.9. And I guess that makes a lot of sense. Like, these games are probably going to be games that are good to some audiences and not good to others. The Beginner's Guide, Leisure Suit Larry, Magna Cum Laude. I could see particularly why people might criticize that game for being very bad as a game, but being very good in its ridiculous sex joke stuff. It actually is a pretty terrible game, but I could see a lot of people liking it even as a terrible game. Disciples 3 Renaissance, Sunset, haven't heard of those two. Virginia, very controversial. I think probably shouldn't be as controversial. It's barely a game from what I hear. I should probably play it just for that controversy. Star Wars Galaxy and Empire Divided, a Goat Simulator. Yes, again, I could see a lot of people really loving Goat Simulator and a lot of people not loving Goat Simulator. Now the next one is Duke Nukem Forever, and I would argue if anybody is rating Duke Nukem Forever highly, they're probably trolling. And that is also part of the problem of doing a list like this, is that the controversial games might be just things that are trolling. If I was going to troll Metacritic, I would give Duke Nukem Forever 10 out of 10. Best game ever. Do a video game donkey type review. Or I'm kind of surprised Knack isn't here. Gothic 3, Mobius Empire Rising, SimCity. I could see a lot of people not liking SimCity just because they don't like Sims. Total War Rome 2, Singles Float Up Your Life Again, and Dear Esther. Singles Float Up Your Life snuck onto the list as a repeat customer. What was controversial 15 years ago looks pretty tame, though it's still completely stupid. Really, how can you listen to this theme song and not just laugh at this game out the door? I'm not gonna play the theme song. The utterly distasteful Leisure Suit Larry magna cum laude, which was recently played by Game Grumps by comparison, I think really earned its place on this list. I didn't find anything really distasteful in Leisure Suit Larry other than the bad gameplay mechanics. Like, either you know what a Leisure Suit Larry game is or you don't. You know that it's going to be a American Pie sex, Porky's style sex game. And that's what it's going to be. Or you don't. And I guess if you somehow in their very blatant advertising didn't get what that game was going to be, you wouldn't enjoy it. But it's not like they were sneaking anything in. It's the exact opposite of like a hot coffee mod, where, I mean, even in the hot coffee mod, you already knew you were playing an adult violent game. It's not unbelievable that it would have a sex scene too. As a PC Gamer reviewer wrote back in 2004, it's one thing to make a bad game that I can forgive. It's worse to take one of the great PC game franchise and ruin the hell out of it. This isn't Leisure Suit Larry, it's just annoying softcore porn. The score at 39. The website Game Chronicle helps explain the standard deviation with a 90, writing, "Relax, pick up that bong and enjoy the ride." The interesting games on this list aren't controversial for their sexual content, but for being the kind of games critics tend to like and some gamers tend to deride. A review of Sunset said its theme, settings, and plot are plenty interesting, but the player's interaction with them feels incongruous. Darn it. That was a mistake, clearly. But user reviews on Metacritic hated it, some dismissively calling it a walking simulator. Dear Esther actually got the same criticisms, bringing up the old "is it really a game" argument, and yes. And I say yes, and who cares, get over it. A lot of these games, too, sadly, are just made by friends of people who review them, and that's why they become critical darlings. We've been over that hundreds of times now, but like, clearly there are some critical darlings that shouldn't be critical darlings, and they only exist that way because the game creator is extremely friendly with the game critics. Like here they're saying, Virginia boldly tells a story with no dialogue, which some critics loved. RPG fan called it intensely intimate, powerful, and thought-provoking, while Killscreen gave it a 30 and spent a lot of time talking about Soviet film theory to explain why Virginia is boring. The Beginner's Guide either stuck you as a brilliant commentary on the artistic process, or like a reviewer Tyler, a peculiar experience that's personal, sincere, and full of questions to unpack, though it asked him far too bluntly. Out of the bunch, I'd like to extend a wow, I forgot this exists to Mobius Empire's Rising. Let's see, Jane Jensen's come back to adventure games in 2014. It didn't look terrible, but I think I played some of the game and I can't tell you anything about it. Let's do this, and this, and this, and that, and then the turn. Most controversial in this case means games with varying reviews. Here's the problem with this article from PC Gamer, and this is an article that's really forced me to read every word of it, which is not something I enjoy. The this paragraph at the bottom should have been at the top. Most controversial in this case means games with varying reviews, and thus doesn't really bring up the kind of controversies we've written in the past. In 2016, there was Ark Scorched Earth expansion and the reaction to No Man's Sky. In 2017 was loot boxes. Back in 2012, it was Mass Effect's ending. I think we could probably think of more controversial games than that too. Slightly different article, but interesting to mention some new games. And it is a little hard to find reasons to talk about old games. And as a YouTuber who does retrospectives right now, because that's all I can really afford, covering old games and having a reason to cover old games is always something we're trying to do. Or I'm trying to do. Moving on, PC Gamer. Microsoft is distributing new microcode to fix the Spectre vulnerability. The new patch includes fixes for branch target injection vulnerabilities. This is a PC Gamer article. Surprising this is not a tech spot thing. Is there any talk about how much it's gonna slow down your CPU? However, Speaking of slowing down my PC, to see if I could put an RSS feed on iTunes, it requires you to make a Apple ID, which I never have had because I've never done Apple products, and install iTunes on your PC. And boy, did that iTunes want to connect to a lot of different internet services. Like 5 different programs asked for internet access and network access when just installing iTunes from the beginning. And that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous I had to install iTunes whatsoever. But whatever. Wasted some time there. Not a ton of time, but definitely wasted some. Gamatsu has a article. Sony Interactive Entertainment has announced it's going to have an organizational transformation. Sony is reorganizing the structure of its regional companies. Not incredibly surprising, considering we've had major people step down. The main person in charge of the Sony Entertainment division retire and step down. So there certainly was some reasons you could certainly have guessed that this was coming. Let's see. Sony Interactive Entertainment has announced it will change its organization structure on April 1st. They always start the new quarter on April 1st, and it sounds like it's an April Fool's Day in Japan. Let's see. Effective April 1st, 2018, to further reinforce the business and operational strength to continue to spearhead and remain the leader in the consistently evolving business environment. I'm not sure. I would so easily say PlayStation is the leader in the industry. But whatever, this is their own press release. As PlayStation continues to bring together more customers around the world, meeting the needs of global thing, blah 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 blah. Let's get to the meat and potatoes. Sales and marketing divisions that currently exist in Sony Interactive Entertainment on America, SIEA, responsible for PlayStation business sales and marketing in Americas. Sony Interactive Entertainment in Europe, SIEE, responsible for PlayStation business sales and marketing in Europe. And Sony Interactive Entertainment Japan, Asia, SIEJA, division company of Sony Interactive Entertainment Incorporated, responsible for PlayStation business sales and marketing in Japan and Asia, will report directly to Jim Ryan, Deputy President and Head of Global Sales and Marketing, SIE, Sony Interactive Interactive Incorporated. So this is a potential. I mean, it could be two things. It could be now that there's less people that you have to go through and talk to for each region to sell a game, or it could be that all of those people now have less control because they're going to be dictated to by the person above them. Like, and there certainly are different ways, as I'm still struggling to get that last victory. Let's just double check. Yeah, one more freaking victory. Let's see if we can maybe find a priest deck we can play, since that's all I need. You know, we'll try this custom priest, whatever. We see a lot of Japanese, Asian visual novel games sold and put on the PlayStation 4. If it becomes that the Japanese head of marketing is going to say these games are going to go to all the regions, they may waste money that they shouldn't waste, because some of those games may not, like, they may not have any sales really to justify translating it to English, although even in that case they usually are translated to English anyways. That might be a good thing, though, if we start seeing more English and Americas and European releases of these games. However, that's not in line with what we've been seeing. More likely, we may find that even less games are sold in Europe and the Americas. It's hard to really know or decide whether this is a good thing or not. I mean, it may just be shuffling deck chairs on the Titanic, which is kind of the wrong analogy, because I don't think Sony is quite to the point where they're really ruining things. Inherently, what I would like to see happen here is less garbage and like fake games and achievement hunting games that were coming onto the PlayStation Network. I'd like to see that not happen anymore, and I'd like to see them have good quality products in all instances, in all regions where it makes sense. Let's see what this article says, the statement. In order to ensure coordination between organizations and support functions that are overseen locally, John Codera, President and CEO of Sony Interactive, and Jim Ryan will assume the role of executives in charge of regions. Codera with responsibility for Americas and Japan, Asia, and Ryan for Europe. So that heavily implies that we are going to start seeing a more unified release dates and release amounts of products in the Americas and Europe. Well, the Americas and Japan, and Europe probably won't be too much different. Current Sony Interactive of Japan Asia president will report directly to Codera to support management of a cross-functional activities for the Japan Asian markets. Wow. So they have literally just given the power to the Americas. That they want to make money, it seems, bad enough to get away from the standard Japanese centric release of control of companies. Let's see. Tragic Master says, one win incoming, good luck. Yeah. I'm also 30 minutes over breaking up this episode. Increasingly, the value of interactive entertainment is differentiated by broad spectrum and depth of experiences that provides customers, blah, 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 blah. Sony Interactive Entertainment's mission is to create and develop more attractive and powerful first-party titles has become more important than ever. So they've put the Japanese they put the Japanese less in control, and they're focusing on first-person titles, which that implies to me that they might be suffering a little bit from the fact that more games in Japan are going towards PC, and that they don't have some of those third-party exclusives that they used to have. For instance, what was I gonna say? The Last of Us, Uncharted. They are releasing God of War, certainly, but they're kind of low on first-party titles. Effective April 1st, Sean Layden, current chairman of Worldwide Studios and Sony Interactive Entertainment Asia president, will concentrate their focus on Worldwide Studios continuing to provide platform-defining content to drive the growth of Sony Interactive Entertainment. Additionally, in global functions, Phil Rosenberg, current Senior Vice President of Business Development and Publishing and Development Relations at Sony Interactive Entertainment Asia, has been appointed the head of Global Publishing and Development Relations as of January 2018. Notice that there is a significant number of non-Japanese names being listed here. Like, that's broken here. Like, well, I could do all three of, I could do two of these, but it would just be killing my own guy. Let's just win. There we go. Hidetake Nishino, current Senior Vice President of Product and Strategy and Management and Corporation Strategy, will assume the role of Head Platform Planning and Managing. And I still need one more season victory, but whatever. This is crazy. Like, it really does feel like Sony is doing a huge shakeup here, handing a significant amount of control for the entertainment video game part of that to the Americas. Really, really crazy. We'll see what that really means. Could it be an attempt to get rid of some long-term employees in Japan, because it's hard to get people to, it's hard to fire people in Japan, particularly managers. So if you embarrass them and shame them by shifting them into lower positions, which is what they did, they may literally just be trying to get rid of employees. Or it could be that they just wanted more global sales, and they've realized that Sony can't just be the successful video game console in Japan and Asia, because there is room here where the PlayStation 4 could have easily won the day and the Xbox One could have been a complete and total failure. But even though Xbox One was saying all the wrong things out of the gate, they were able to turn that around, and Sony didn't really capitalize on it. If I was running Sony when the PlayStation 4 came out, I would have said, we're going to have way more games, we're going to have way more variety of games, we're going to be that favorite Japanese company that brings over all the visual novels that the small niche of people that like that do. But we're also going to get all those Westerners that love the first-person shooters. And we're going to have something like Halo. And we're going to have something like Gears of War. Although maybe Gears of War did come to the PlayStation. Tragic Master says, good game. Thank you. We're going late. So that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. If you want to support me, gift me a game on Steam. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.